comes Eds. Each day we realize how even little things matter greatly in our lives. So today, let's think of those little things that have happened to us, leaving a rather great impact which we never expected. This is part 3C of the chapter Soil Resources, and today we move on to the next two agents of soil erosion: the erosion by wind and erosion by human activities, and the manner in which they erode soil in general. Then we shall discuss the causes and consequences of soil erosion in detail to get a better understanding of the impact of soil erosion. With the devastating experiences of the cyclonic storms like the Oki and the super cyclone Imphan in recent times, we know the strength and destructive power of wind in action. When we speak of wind erosion, it can be defined as the movement and deposition of soil particles by high velocity winds in deserts and dry regions where there is little or no vegetation. Here, I want you to pay special attention to three descriptions. Firstly, high velocity winds. Secondly, deserts and dry regions. And thirdly, little or no vegetation. It is under these three conditions that soil erosion by wind occurs. Wind moves soil particles in three ways, depending on the size of the particles and the strength of the wind. They are surface creep, saltation, and suspension. Let us try to get a better idea of these three stages. When the wind speed at the soil surface exceeds 21 km per hour, soil particles that are greater than 0.5 millimeter in size start rolling along the soil surface. This stage is called soil creep or surface creep. As the wind speed picks up, the surface particles that are 0.1 millimeter to 0.5 millimeter in size bounce or hop or leap off the surface into the air, and this process is called saltation. Once the saltation begins, the particles that have already leapt into the air hit the surface and knock loose other smaller sand particles, clay, and organic matter, pushing them into the air. These tinier soil particles are lifted up into the atmosphere and transported through long distances until the wind speed decreases or until some obstacles like fences, boulders, or roads, or even small tufts of grass are reached. This stage is called suspension. This fine dust may remain in suspension in the air until washed down by rain. Wind erosion is most visible in the suspension stage as dust storms or as deposition along fences or roads or as sand dunes in desert regions. Thus, what we find is that in arid and semi-arid regions, wind becomes a very powerful agent of erosion by carrying away sand particles from one area and depositing them in another area. As a result, both areas become unproductive. This process of land degradation in dry lands, in which the agricultural productivity of the land is lost due to natural processes or human activities, is called desertification or desertization. As a consequence or effect of wind erosion, the Thar Desert is advancing or extending towards the east and northeast. With this, we come to the third agent of soil erosion, humans or human activities. Let's find out how we become culprits. As the population increases, the demand for land and food also increases. The fact is that the land doesn't increase in size with our growing demands. There lies the problem. As we learn the details of this topic, we realize that instead we are losing our land in various ways. So, we feel that the only option is to clear the trees which seem to be growing everywhere without any particular reason. But I believe that by now you would be very much aware of the importance of vegetation. Therefore, to satisfy our needs, that is, like settlements, or for construction, cultivation, grazing animals, and so on, we resort to activities like deforestation and overgrazing on a large scale without thinking of the serious consequences. When we have so many requirements, we feel that our needs are more important than the trees covering vast areas of the land. We feel that cutting a few trees will never be a big problem. So, deforestation occurs. Of course, our needs ought to be satisfied. But if we don't do things the right way, our actions can backfire on us. So, I suggest that if we take a closer look at the consequences of our thoughtless actions, how our deeds have already started affecting us, we will be able to understand well how human activities have led to soil erosion. First, let's check how human activities have led to soil erosion on the hills. Deforestation for road and rail construction, hydroelectric projects, townships, bridges, and for coffee and tea plantations has led to the loosening of soil. Improper methods of farming, poor management of agricultural land and forest, and even overgrazing have led to very serious consequences like sheet erosion, extensive gullying, landslides, flash floods, and even stream bank erosion during the heavy monsoon rains. The local farmers practice unscientific and faulty methods of farming like shifting cultivation, which leaves the land bare and exposed to the heavy rains where sheet erosion can occur. Another severe problem or consequence of human action in the reservoirs, dams, and rivers is increased siltation. That is, most of the loose soil carried into the rivers through sheet erosion by surface runoff gets deposited in the deep space created by the dams to collect water. As a result, the river gets choked up. The depth of the rivers and dams decrease due to the soil deposits. The rivers cannot contain the excessive rainwater or store them in the dams because there are soil deposits everywhere. The storage capacity of the dams and reservoirs is reduced by the silt deposits. So, the water overflows, causing floods. When the rain stops, we do not have enough reserve water in our dams and reservoirs for the hot and dry summer because they are partly filled with silt or soil deposits. Next, I will explain how human activities have led to soil erosion in semi-arid regions. Cattle rearing is the main economic activity or source of income in semi-arid regions. While rearing cattle, farmers allow the sheep and goat to overgraze, that is, feed in the same pasture for a long time. As a result, the cattle might even eat right up to the roots, leaving the whole area clear without any stock left for the next fodder to grow. Moreover, the cattle, which keep on shifting or moving their legs restlessly, pulverize the soil in that area. Thus, with lack of grass cover or vegetative cover and soft soil due to pulverization, there are serious consequences. The valuable soil layer gets washed away by the heavy seasonal showers, leaving the whole area unproductive and exposed to the destructive power of agents of erosion. This can lead to extreme poverty, drought, and famine. Now, we shall summarize the causes and the consequences of soil erosion separately to let the main details sink in very clearly, as I have already given you a detailed explanation. The causes may be listed out this way in general: heavy population pressure on land, deforestation, bad or improper methods of farming, overgrazing, topography or the type of land, that is, whether it is a dry land or humid region, whether it is a hilly region or plain. Accordingly, the causes of erosion differ. Even the nature of rainfall becomes a deciding factor because India receives 90% of its rainfall during the monsoon season, and you know how rain causes erosion. Next, the consequences. They are loosening of soil, sheet erosion leading to extensive gully erosion, landslips or landslides, flash floods, stream bank erosion, siltation, desertification, which can mean both unproductivity of land as well as advancement of the desert, and poor crop yield. Now, let's find out the regions where soil erosion is prominent. The destructive power of wind is clearly seen in the Thar Desert. With this, Rajasthan seems to be topmost on the list of states with soil eroded regions. Soil erosion on hilly regions is seen in the northeastern hill states and also in the western Ghats. In semi-arid regions, this is especially seen in Madhya Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Gujarat, Maharashtra, and Karnataka, where severe soil erosion has led to the formation of ravines. Another prominent example is the chores of Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, and Haryana, formed as a result of deforestation and overgrazing on the southern slopes of the Shivalik range and its plains. Thus, the worst affected areas are the badlands of the Chambal and Yamuna rivers, the Piedmont area of foothills of the western Himalayas, the Chota Nagpur Plateau region, the Tapi Sabarmati Valley region in Gujarat, the Regar soil area of Maharashtra, and the dry regions of Rajasthan, Gujarat, and Haryana. Here, you are given two lists, one with the states and one with the areas. This is to help you answer according to the state-wise questions and area-wise questions. In this session, we have concentrated on the second and third agents of soil erosion and their manner of erosion in general, and then soil erosion in India based on the causes and consequences. I think this is more than and enough for a single session. So, bye.